Okay, let's dive in. You know, there are certain plays everyone's heard the name, but hardly anyone really gets them. And at the very top of that list, it's gotta be Samuel Beckett's masterpiece, Waiting for Godot. I mean, this is a play that has left audiences completely baffled, split critics right down the middle, and just completely rewrote the rules for what theater could do. The critic Vivian Mercier, he just nailed it with this one famous line. He called it a play in which nothing happens twice. And you know what? He's not wrong. It's basically two acts, two guys, a single tree, and, well, a ton of waiting. So that brings us to the big, obvious question, right? If literally nothing happens, then how in the world did this become one of the most important plays of the 20th century? I mean, what is the secret here? Well, believe it or not, the key to cracking this whole thing might come from the last audience you'd ever expect. The famous critic Martin Esslin tells this amazing story. Back in 1957, a theater group took a huge risk and decided to perform Waiting for Godot for 1,400 inmates at San Quentin prison. And what happened next was just unbelievable. And, their reaction really gets to the core of our first section here. Is this play really about nothing? I mean, just check out this stark difference. You had the most sophisticated, highbrow audiences in places like Paris and New York, totally scratching their heads, digging for some hidden meaning or complex plot. But the inmates at San Quentin, they understood it instantly. No confusion, none at all. See, for the prisoners, this wasn't some abstract intellectual puzzle. It was their life. It was real. One inmate said, Godot is society. Another chimed in, he's the outside. A teacher there pointed out that these men, they knew what it meant to wait. They felt it in their bones. And they also knew that if Godot ever did show up, he'd probably just be a disappointment anyway. Their own lives gave them the key to the whole thing. But here's what's so genius about the play. Beckett takes these super heavy themes, hopelessness, endless waiting, and he explores them using comedy. It's this absolutely wild blend of deep tragedy and old-school vaudeville. So the whole thing centers on a really small group of characters. First, you've got our main guys, Vladimir and Estragon, Didi and Gogo, as they call each other, just two buddies trying to pass the time. Then this really strange pair shows up, Pazzo, who's this pompous, overbearing master, and his servant, Lucky. And finally, there's a young boy who appears every so often with a message from the guy they're waiting for, the mysterious Godot. And this right here, this is the play's secret sauce. On one side, you have this profound, soul-crushing tragedy. I'm talking existential dread, suffering, total hopelessness. But then, on the other side, it's just filled with classic vaudeville comedy. We're talking slapstick routines with hats and boots, ridiculous wordplay. The whole dynamic between Didi and Gogo feels like you're watching a Laurel and Hardy movie. But make no mistake, the comedy isn't just there to be funny. Beckett himself said it best. He called it a game. Everything is a game in order to survive. All those jokes, the little routines, even their arguments, they're all just ways to pass the time. They're survival tactics to fill the emptiness and stop the crushing reality of their situation from completely taking over. Okay, so it's not just the tragicomedy that makes this play feel so weird. That feeling you get, like the world is just a little bit broken, that's completely on purpose. And it brings us to this really important idea. The theater of the absurd. So Martin Esslin, the same guy from the San Quentin story, he's the one who coined the term. Basically, he said that after the absolute horror of World War II, all the old ideas people used to rely on, like religion or the belief that humanity was always progressing, for a lot of artists, those ideas just crumbled. So absurdist plays are a reflection of that. They show you a world that's lost its meaning, where people are just floating around in a universe that doesn't make sense anymore. You see this breakdown happening in two major ways. First, language just falls apart. The perfect example is Lucky's famous monologue. It's this explosion of words. It's a crazy, frantic mashup of academic and religious-sounding phrases that, in the end, means absolutely nothing. It sounds like it should be profound, but it just dissolves into gibberish. It's a really chilling picture of a mind, and maybe a whole culture, just breaking down. And then there's the second big breakdown, time itself. So in the second act, that master character, Pazzo, he shows up again. Only this time, he's blind, and he has absolutely no memory of ever meeting Didi and Gogo before. When they try to ask him when things happened, he just loses it, screaming this furious rant that basically squishes all of human life down into one single pointless second. Past, present, future, it all just collapses into nothing. So if language is broken and time doesn't even exist, what in the world are they actually waiting for? And that, of course, brings us to the single most famous question in all of modern theater, the question people have been asking for decades. Who or what is Godot? Here's the thing, there is no single right answer. And that's exactly the point. People have argued that Godot is God, or maybe he represents hope, or death, or purpose itself. He's kind of like a blank screen, right? We project our own ideas onto him, whatever it is we think is coming to give our lives meaning. In a way, Godot is just the name for the waiting. So since no meaning is coming from the outside, since Godot never shows up, all they have is each other, right here, right now. It's like Estragon says, we are all born mad. Some remain so. They're forced to just make things up as they go along. Not for some big, noble reason, but just to prove to themselves, moment by moment, that they're still here, that they actually exist. Their whole life is just a series of little activities, or proceedings, as Vladimir calls them, all designed to fill that massive emptiness. They tell stories, they play games, they bicker, they even think about suicide. But it's almost like just another thing to do to pass the time. All of it is a strategy to fight off what they call the dead voices, that terrifying silence of a universe that doesn't seem to care. Okay, so let's bring this all home. All of these pieces, the waiting, the comedy, the breakdown of reality, it all clicks into place when you look at the play's absolutely revolutionary structure. This is where you see Beckett's true genius. The way the play is built perfectly mirrors what it's about. The whole nothing happens twice thing, it's because their lives are a loop. They're stuck in this repetitive circular trap. The play's structure is designed to make us, the audience, feel that same sense of endless, frustrating waiting. The critic Michael Wharton summed it up perfectly. He said Beckett's whole goal as an artist was to find a form that accommodates the mess. Think about that. Instead of forcing a clean, tidy story onto the chaos of real life, Beckett invented a new type of play, a form that could actually hold all that messiness without trying to clean it up or pretend they're easy answers. So in the end, Waiting for Godot isn't some puzzle that you need to solve. It's really more like a mirror. It reflects back at us all our own anxieties, our feelings of uncertainty and absurdity. But it also shows us something else, our incredible resilience, our ability to find humor in dark places, and our strange, stubborn power to just go on, even when we have no idea why. And so, the play leaves us with one final, haunting question. It's not about them anymore. It's about us. Didi and Gogo are waiting for Godot. The question the play leaves you with is, what are you waiting for?